Podcast City Network.
Hey guys, this is Chris with FinalScore, and we are back for another exciting episode of FinalScore because we are now up to episode 20.
Episode 20.
Episode 20, and this is a huge, huge episode for us in so many different ways. But before we get to that, you definitely got to make sure that you go on and check out all things FinalScore by following us on social media, on Twitter, Twitter, Facebook, and now
officially
Instagram. That's right. All you have to do is go on any three of those platforms, search at PCN FinalScore, give us a like, give us a follow, and stay up to date on all the crazy things we have going on because we always got something going on now.
Yeah, there's always something going on social media. So
yeah, always something going on, but also you can catch us on some pretty cool platforms. Boom, right here on Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Podbean, Google Play Music, Stitcher, iTunes, and of course, PodCoin. So, got a lot of great stuff going on.
Absolutely. And we're at episode 20, so our show is almost legal to drink.
Almost.
I think we might have to have a celebratory beverage for when we do hit our 21st episode.
Yeah, so you should, because you know what? When your show turns 21 episodes, it's always a monumentous occasion. So you have to. It's required. By podcast law, it's required. People are probably looking at me like, podcast law? What the hell's that?
It's like, what is that? Yeah.
But again, like we said, this is going to be a really great episode. We got so much planned, so much we got to squeeze in. So you know what? We might just need to hit the ground running.
NBA free agency special episode.
That's right.
I'm sure there's a shorter way you can say that, but that's what we got.
NBA FA. Actually, has a nice little ring to it.
NBA FA,
I probably didn't say it as nicely as I could have, but
right.
Either way though, there's been so much happening now because we have hit the free agency period. I'm sorry, in the NBA. Now, keep in mind, none of these are going to be finalized until when is it? The 5th,
July 6th.
July 6th. So keep in mind that all these are in principle.
Yeah, this is essentially what they call the moratorium period, where they can agree to contracts but can't actually officially sign.
What do they call it again?
The moratorium.
You know what? Why don't they just be like the NFL and just get lazy about it and just call it the legal tampering period?
Well, that's actually been a debate because hours leading up to yesterday's 6 p.m. because they changed it. It used to be midnight on July 1st, and then they pushed it back to June 30th at 6 p.m. And the ratings probably, I would imagine, have been through the roof because at midnight, everyone's like, oh, okay, well, it's I got to go to work in the next day or things like that. But people are, like myself, glued to the TV at actually 4 o'clock. But there's news and rumors coming out at 4:35, 5:30, like, oh, so-and-so is going to sign here. So when 6 o'clock happens, I love following Adrian Wojnarowski.
Oh, my goodness.
As soon as 6 p.m. officially hit, he probably had like 5 or 6 tweets just lined up, drafted, ready to hit.
Oh, I'm sure. He was copying and pasting a lot that day.
Pretty much. I mean, it was crazy because as soon as that happened, they're like, oh, okay, well, almost everything for free agency is already done. Right. 6 p.m. on the dot, Kevin Durant announces. Like 2 or 3 minutes later, Kyrie Irving announces. Well, there's the 2 big dominoes right there.
Yeah, right off rip.
So, I mean, it's kind of like that's the conversation is, why not just get rid of it? Like the NBA cannot, I'm pretty sure like they cannot now fine another team for tampering with a straight face anymore because everybody does it clearly.
Well, then we live in the age of massive social media. So at the end of the day, you're going to find out one way or another. So why beat around the bush anymore?
Yeah, and you can't monitor people's phone calls, text messages, emails, social media ads.
The NCAA will try to prove you wrong on that one.
Yeah, they can try, but yeah, it's just become kind of a facade, really.
It
it's
really
just
has.
Why don't you just make it all as soon as the season's over? Just give it like you can't even really set a date because no matter what date you set, it's happening already. Like,
oh yeah, balls are already rolling.
They've been talking about this since the All-Star break. They're talking about how Kyrie and KD were going to team up and go somewhere.
Yep.
So it's been basically this whole year. And of course, they're talking about Anthony Davis was trying to get to LA.
Yeah.
Eventually it did happen through the trade. But what do you do you think there's a way they can actually fix this?
I mean, they could just be more outright about it. Once the season ends, just open the period. Once literally that final whistle blows, just open it up. Because at the end of the day, you're already making backdoor deals, getting everything rolling anyway. So why not just make that, okay, season's over, we're already there. Just make it easy, because most teams are already making these plans and making these moves already in the backs of their minds, whether officially or not. So why not just go ahead and just start opening that period up literally right when that last whistle blows?
Would you change the free agency, like the official date they can sign then?
Honestly, I would, because why have all this in principle stuff? Why have that?
Well, I don't know if it's probably part of the CBA as far as when those things
that's probably true.
Come in. But yeah, I agree with the agreeing and we've seen it in the NFL. Who was the guy from Vikings that went to Jets and came back? Anthony Barr. He went through this moratorium period. He was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go to New York. Nah, I'm going to come back. So some of these can still change, but a lot of these are all just agreeing in principle.
Well, the thing is, I feel like if you were to take away that kind of period and make it to where, okay, if you agree to this, you've agreed to it, it might make a lot of these players look at the situation a little harder, maybe actually think about it a little more before making these plans, being like, oh yeah, I'll agree to this. And like with Anthony Barr, he agreed to go play for the Jets and then gets cold feet a few days later. So I think you see a lot less of those kinds of things, especially when you see big news outlets that are reporting this, teams that are starting to prepare for this, fan bases that start getting excited about this, and then you kind of tear it away from them. I think it makes it a little bit unfair for the fans as well as the franchise that could have received the player. So right now, let's get rid of it altogether. Make sure these players are sure about what they're trying to do. Take a couple days if you have to, and finalize the thing. Don't screw around. Don't mess around. Don't act like this is some big old thing. This isn't the decision. So just make your decision, move on.
Thank God we don't have to go through that stuff again anymore.
A 1 hour special for him to say, yeah, I'm going to Miami. Could have done that in a tweet, bro.
Oh, God, that was terrible. That was a joke.
And ESPN ate it up.
Oh, yeah. And they were the ones pushing it.
Of course they were. That's why they made an hour-long special.
But as soon as 6 p.m. hit, it was like within the hour, most of the big signings were done. And honestly, we were just trying to keep up, the two of us, trying to text each other about stuff. It's like, as soon as one happens, there's another one happen. There's another one. So many moves.
If you haven't seen my forehead, I was literally glued to my TV. So
clear. I see that. I think it was
quite red. Oh.
Yeah.
That's
why you don't stand too close to the TV, kids.
Yes, don't be me about it.
Don't stand too close to the TV.
Don't be like your old good buddy Chris here, who I kept getting closer and closer. As more and more excitement built. Next thing you know,
Next thing you know, and you're right up there, and it fries your head, fries your head. But some of the big chips that fell. Talking about Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving going to Brooklyn.
Yes. Huge get.
This is a franchise changing move, but it's been a few years in the making. Mm-hmm. So yes, if you get KD to whatever he comes back to, still going to make you much better. Kyrie is a guy that can take over and he can help elevate your franchise right away.
Oh, definitely.
But this has been a few years in the making, because from where they were from years ago when they basically sold away the farm to bring in an aged Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and gave away so many draft picks just to get those guys.
And get that one title.
And they didn't even get one in Brooklyn.
No, not in Brooklyn. I'm talking about, I'm sorry, I'm thinking
You're talking about situation. Boston.
Sorry, don't mind me. This red mark. This is not for show.
That's affected your brain,
this
apparently.
Has really affected my brain. This is why you don't get close to the television.
But to see where they came from to where they are now, and their front office is intact, is solid. It's a well-respected organization now. Yes. And they've even, we always throw around in multiple sports, in the NFL especially, talk about a culture change. I think it's one of the most overused terms when you're trying to develop the type of identity you want as a franchise and as a team. The Nets embodied that term of culture, because not only did they get better through the draft, they had to hit on their picks.
Oh, absolutely.
They had basically little to no space free agent wise to get those big name guys, and they basically just did it the old-fashioned way. They did it through the draft. They developed players that they got, whether it's guys that were forgotten about in free agency or via trade. And they made all of their players live in Brooklyn.
Yes.
Like not everybody did, but like a vast majority of their players did. And they made them get ingrained into the community, which that right there is a huge step, especially for Brooklyn, which is kind of historically been a unique part of town in the New York boroughs. So those, like, having that kind of thing happen, it just helped develop that and cultivate that culture that they wanted that attracts those big name free agents like a Kevin Durant and a Kyrie Irving and even DeAndre Jordan, who they got.
Well, I think a big thing, too, when it comes to Brooklyn is Brooklyn also was, at the time, starving for sports. They really hadn't had a pro franchise in Brooklyn. We're going to take it back, sir.
Take it back.
The Dodgers.
Yeah, the Brooklyn Dodgers.
The Brooklyn Dodgers. So we're looking at 60, 70 years ago when they had a pro franchise that was actually able to represent that borough. But with the Nets coming back, you know, we know a lot of people were very instrumental in bringing the Nets to Brooklyn out of Jersey. And like you said, it was a huge culture change. Once they were able to get the pieces in place that they needed in the front office and be able to really start changing the culture, and now they're starting to bring in the players they actually need. And I feel it's really going to help them establish a more winning culture there now. That's really going to help bring Brooklyn to the forefront because fans in Brooklyn, they love the Nets. They absolutely love the Nets, but
they don't show up.
But they don't. That's the problem. And it's because the Nets have always been, at least for the better part of the past decade, garbage.
Right. And I saw a unique statistic. Of course, you know, ESPN loves their statistics.
Oh, yeah.
They actually did a poll, I think it was last year, over the course of last year. The Nets ranked 29th in popularity. 29th.
Sounds about right.
And they were a playoff team.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy.
But I guarantee you that outside of D'Angelo Russell, majority of their fans could not name another player on that team.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They didn't have name recognition. And that's the biggest thing they've been lacking. Well, until now. Until
now, absolutely. But being in a sport, and of course, being in the Barclays Center, which is this enormous, just gaudy, beautiful facility. They had what else did they got a brand new training facility that is state of the art nearby. I think it's nearby the stadium in Brooklyn as well. They have done a lot of things in the last couple of years that have put them in this position to bring in the big name free agents of KD and Kyrie Irving.
And that would be the HSS Training Center. Just to throw it out there.
The HSS Training Center. Okay.
Yeah, such an interesting name for it, but, you know.
That's probably part of the sponsors who help.
And it probably is. But that's the things that, like you said, they're taking those steps. They're actually investing in the franchise and not just trying to be another franchise that's here and, hey, we're in the NBA. Let's be happy to be here. No, they're really trying to get a more winning culture there now. So hopefully these kinds of moves, being able to have more name recognition with a Kevin Durant, who's honestly one of the biggest players in the game. Kyrie Irving, who's always been a hot topic player. So, and of course, DeAndre Jordan, you know, let's not go wrong with that.
Yeah, the most unique thing about this situation is that all these teams were ready to offer max contracts or have offered max contracts. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving both took less than the max in order to let the Brooklyn Nets bring in DeAndre Jordan.
And I think
I thought that was really, really unique.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't even think it's just unique. I think it really shows that not only is the franchise willing to win now, but that these players want to win now. And obviously, you're going to want to try and help the franchise you're playing for to bring in a big name if you can like that. Because DeAndre Jordan, that's a great piece to help fill out, to have your quote-unquote big three.
And on top of who they already have, I mean, you still got Spencer Dinwiddie. You got Jarrett Allen with his big fro. Can you imagine? Just imagine that front court. Okay, DeAndre Jordan may start, may or may not start,
may or may not.
But when he comes out, Jarrett Allen comes in, who's a very similar player. And I mean, you've got a really interesting roster that's filling out now with these three stars. You've still got Dinwiddie, like I said, you still got Karis LeVert, and Jarrett Allen. So this could really, all those young guys, along with these veterans and star players, the Nets could really be an interesting team
Very well could be.
This year it'll be really interesting to see what happens. How are they going to manage Kyrie's minutes? Are they going to tell him like, here, this is your team for the year and try to take us as far as you can? Or are they going to be more smart about it and say, you know what, we're going to manage your minutes because we don't want you to get injured or burnt out, and we want you to be ready for when KD comes back the following season. It's really going to be fun to watch for the Nets to see how they have that balancing act of win now versus kind of wait for the future.
And breaking in the last 10 minutes, Austin Rivers just agreed to a 2-year deal to return to the Rockets. So a lot of teams have also been trying to also hold on to some of the players that they've had. Most notably, and I'm going to have to talk about it, is the Magic.
Yeah, the Magic. The Magic re-signed, and I think that was a really big thing for them. Is not only to re-sign Vucevic was the number one priority in free agency. And there's a lot of speculation that he was going to go to a LA like the Lakers or a Boston or something like that.
Clippers even were in the mix at one point.
Clippers were in the mix as well, is right.
Yeah.
But the fact that they re-signed him, he wanted to be here. They said, all right, we're going to commit to you. And 4 years, $100 million. That's pretty damn good. 25 a year.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think that definitely helps the Magic, too, with being able to lure other players to try and come to Orlando. They also got Terrence Ross back, which was a huge help.
That's good.
Yeah, and we'll definitely see what else they're able to pull off because we're still pretty young in the free agency period. But the Magic need to go get something.
There's not much they can go get, honestly.
And that's what's sad.
Because all right, so here's what you look at. This I don't want to get too far off topic, but
no, not too far.
Not too far. But with the state of the Magic, number one priority was to get Vuce back, which you got him. Mm-hmm. Terrence Ross is also a good help, but now you're looking at you need Isaac to step up and actually become something. He's still, he's only a couple of years removed from his rookie year, but at some point you've got to be like. What's that meme where the kid like pokes something with a stick, says do something?
Do something.
Yeah.
Do something.
Jonathan Isaac needs to do something. He needs to continue to improve. He's done really well, but he needs to become the all-star player that they drafted him to become. Mm-hmm. That kind of potential. He needs to realize that potential.
And what's crazy is he showed flashes of it too last season where he could really come out and start dominating, and other games he would just evaporate into the background.
So he definitely needs to be more consistent. They need a point guard of the future. DJ Augustine's a great veteran, and he showed games where he can like the game one against the Raptors.
Yep.
Turned up, and he turned into the DJ Augustine, not necessarily of old, because he's had flashes here and there of being a really great point guard, but they need a point guard of the future. Markelle Fultz, I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell they traded for him for. He's kind of, if it's not the shoulder, the kid's got no jump shot.
Well, they were able to retain point guard Michael Carter-Williams, so that's one thing. But he's just a rotational player at this point. So
he was signed as a end of the year like G League player. Mm-hmm. Like they only did it because they needed depth because you don't have a starting point guard.
That's right, and that's what hurts them because even you look at the other point guards they have on roster, whether it be Troy Copain or even what's the other one I'm trying to think of right now, Jerrion Grant. Those aren't guys that are going to be able to step in and be a starter for you.
Yeah, those aren't needle moving guys. But even at the other guard position, you still got Evan Fournier, inconsistent. Mm-hmm. Terrence Ross, streaky shooter.
Yes.
And he's not the high flyer he was when he was in Toronto. Who else? Oh, Aaron Gordon, the big we haven't talked about yet.
Yes, who's the most locked up player they have on the roster too.
He's taken a step in the right direction last year under Clifford.
Yes.
And his numbers didn't show it, but he's done a lot better. I think he needs to take another step forward and be kind of that go-to scorer because they don't have one other than playing through Vucevic. You have no other scorer that's a reliable scorer. Aaron Gordon still doesn't have much of a post game. He's just a slashing, high-flying dunker.
Yes.
Still, he can't consistently shoot the three.
Defense every now and then.
Yeah, so I mean, like the Magic still have a lot of work to do, but they just need to improve.
Yes.
Your playoff window is right now. And they kind of surprised people last year by getting there. You just got to take another step forward. I I don't care how you do it, but you got to find some way to get a guy at the one of the guard positions that's going to be that needle mover that pushes you into the next step of a franchise, where it's going to be, okay, we've made the playoffs. Now let's work on getting home court advantage in at least the first round. So that's a top 4 seed. If you can make it to a top 4 seed, you're probably in the conversation for Eastern Conference Finals at this point.
Well, them also picking up Al Farouk Amino wasn't a bad move either, but
that's a defensive move. That's a Clifford move
exactly,
for sure.
That's a defense move. It's not something that's necessarily going to help them on the offensive end.
Which offense is what they really struggled with at points last year.
Yes, absolutely. And it felt like a lot of their offense really just came from Voos. Because, like you said, Terrence Ross, streaky shooter. Aaron Gordon, inconsistent. Fournier, very inconsistent. And he's supposed to be their three-point shooter. So at the end of the day, you don't really have a whole lot going on offensively. So definitely be interesting to see what happens going into this next season, because I feel like the Magic really are just going to be kind of hoping and praying that guys that are supposed to be already developed to where what they need right now are going to continue to develop and get there, like the Aaron Gordons. But
yeah, they got a lot of work to do. They just need to improve throughout the offseason. We'll see how they start the gate next year.
But one team that definitely improved, I feel like, Boston Celtics.
Oh, absolutely. I think they were one of the winners in this free agency potentially. I mean, how you want to look at it is they not only got Kemba Walker to replace Kyrie Irving, but you got him in a sign and trade.
Yes.
And which involved sending Terry Rozier to Charlotte. So Charlotte still gets a player back in this. I'm not sure the other details for it, but that was the main 2 players involved in this deal. Celtics not only did that, they signed Enes Kanter, who was playing the last half of the year with the Portland Trailblazers last year.
Oh, yeah.
That's
all a run they made.
Yeah, that now fills the need of a center, a starting center. And for Enes Kanter, you're now in a spot where you can compete for a championship and you get to start. So I think they landed pretty well. Yeah, they did lose Al Horford to the Philadelphia 76ers, but you kind of knew that was coming anyway with all the rumors that were going on that they weren't on speaking terms, and it just got pretty messy from what I saw.
Yeah, the writing seemed to be on the wall with that entire situation, especially as things progressed. So definitely was not one that they were going to be shy about,
right,
or act like wasn't happening. So, you know, they do, like you said, lose Al Horford, but you get Kemba Walker and you get Enes Kanter. So I feel like this is really 2 great players to try and bring in to try and keep bolstering this Celtics team, because I think that was one thing that was lacking with Kyrie Irving is Kyrie Irving's a great player. I don't feel like he's a true leader and wants to be that guy that's going to take a step back every now and then for other players. He's a guy that wants to be at the forefront.
And that's exactly what you're getting in Kemba Walker. You got a guy that just wants to win.
Yes.
And I think it spoke volumes that he told Charlotte, hey, I'll take less than the max so you can go get other players.
Yes.
And Jordan was like, no, we're good. He's like, okay, I'm going to go somewhere where they want to win. And I think he's going to fit in really well with this Boston team.
Oh, yes.
Because, I mean, now you've got Brown and Tatum that are still growing into their NBA experience. Gordon Hayward, now another year removed from that nasty leg injury.
Oh, that was
I think he's going to be a lot
horrible.
closer to the Gordon Hayward everyone has expected. And they've got other draft picks that will eventually crack the rotation. So they're going to be a really interesting team to watch in the East. I think they really hit a home run with Kemba Walker coming on board.
Oh, absolutely. And I know that was one of their big targets too, going into free agency, just because Kemba Walker is such a great dynamic player. And like you said, he just wants to win. And when you have that type of a player, it becomes infectious. And that's what I love about him, is that he's a great player who can stand up and be a leader, but still raise everybody up with him rather than prop himself up on top of everybody else. And I think that's what's really going to help Boston going into next season. But looking at it, though, we got to look at some of these other teams. New Orleans also had a decent little pickup, being able to acquire J.J. Redick and Derek Favors. I think those are going to be two nice little additions there. That and with what's going on in New Orleans.
That was a silent killer. That was one of the other surprises. That wasn't the biggest surprise of the first day, but I think that was like 1A.
Oh, yes.
Because the fact that J.J. Redick picked New Orleans to sign with, and it was only a 2-year deal, but still. He was being targeted by the Lakers. He was being targeted, of course, by the 76ers to come back. The fact that he leaves, I think, is a very huge blow for the Sixers.
Oh, absolutely.
When their offense struggled, who did they turn to make shots on offense? J.J. Redick.
Oh, yeah.
But now with him leaving, that's a huge boost for New Orleans because then you pick up Derek Favors, who's another he's another guy that's going to do the dirty work in the post. He's another strong veteran for that locker room. Surround him with all the young talent that they just got from the Anthony Davis trade, and you got Zion coming in. I mean, this team not this year, but that second year of these 2-year deals, Pelicans are going to be good.
Yeah, and you better not sleep on them because honestly, I think they're not only going to be able to play great defense, but I think they're going to have a great shooting game, and you're really going to have to respect this team. And if you don't, they might just bull over you come that time.
And the fact that J.J. Redick is going to have Lonzo Ball when healthy, who's got great court vision, he's going to find him and get him open.
And see, that's the biggest thing that helps guys like J.J. because he's such a great three-point shooter. We know he has the collegiate record for three-pointers at Duke and all this kind of stuff. But having a guy, like you said, that has that vision, be able to make sure you get the ball when you're open, tell you what, Pelicans might be scoring a whole load of points.
That's they had a pretty quiet but strong offseason so far. But I guess it's not necessarily quiet because of the trade. But I mean, this just adds on to the hype train that is now with the Pelicans. Everybody's jumping on their bandwagon.
Oh yeah, they got Zion.
I mean,
Zion.
That's the biggest part of the bandwagon right there. But the fact that he went there, and then of course with him leaving, we said Philadelphia. They lost JJ, but they picked up Al Horford from Boston. They did re-sign Tobias Harris with a monster contract that I don't think anybody saw coming.
Yeah, I don't think anybody saw
5 years, 180.
Yeah, that one really surprised me when I saw that go across the ticker.
So his situation's very unique because every team that he's been to, they've all said, "Oh, we love him. He's a fantastic player." Then they turn right around and trade his ass.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that works.
So you really don't like him then? Because I mean, if you think he's that good of an asset, you wouldn't necessarily
get rid of it.
Yeah,
and that's what's funny about the whole situation.
Unless there's all these NBA teams are like, "Oh yeah, we really really want him." But then when it's dangled in front of them to trade him away because other teams want him, they go, "Oh yeah, okay, let's get rid of him."
Yeah, because I think he ends up being one of those guys. It's like you have the talent, but we could always use you as a good trading piece.
And that's what he's been used his whole career. Orlando, Detroit, the Clippers. He's basically just been hung as trade bait.
Well, he did play well in Orlando and was there for a little bit at least.
He played well in Detroit too. I love his game. I really do.
He didn't play bad for the Clippers either, honestly.
No, I love his game. I think he's a really good player. It's just he's got finally. I think for him now, he's got some stability. He's got the huge commitment. So now it's up to him. All right, let's go ahead and let's be a leader on this team. But of course with those signings, losing JJ. They also lost Jimmy Butler.
Oh, yeah.
That was not necessarily a surprise because everybody knew that Jimmy Butler didn't want to be there because he wasn't the number one guy.
I think it was more surprising where Jimmy Butler honestly ended up landing.
I agree.
I don't think everybody had the Miami Heat at the top of the list when it came to Jimmy Butler. I think Miami was probably more around like 4 or 5 on that pecking order, but for them to pull this off and be able to get a player like Jimmy Butler, who's a great defensive player, but also can play a little bit of offense, that this really helps round out Miami, seeing how you now have Dwayne Wade gone.
He's going to take the torch for this team. He's taking the torch. He's basically going to be the Dwayne Wade in his prime.
Yes.
For the Miami Heat. I'm not completely surprised by this move because as much as he said he wants to win, okay, players need to stop saying that first and foremost because if you don't, okay, yes, everybody wants to win, but is that what you really want?
Everybody wants to get paid, right?
Not even that. Jimmy Butler, yes, he wanted to get paid. He wanted to be the guy, like he was for a little bit in Chicago.
Yes.
And then he thought he was going to be in Minnesota, but he didn't want to play second fiddle to Cat, Karl Anthony Towns and company. And then goes to Philadelphia where, yeah, he's a star player, but he's not the guy Joel Embiid is and Ben Simmons for some reason. So he goes to a place that not only is he going to be the guy, but they also have a very, very strong front office. Pat Riley is a phenomenal NBA executive.
Absolutely amazing.
He's done so many great things throughout his executive career. Eric Spoelstra is a great coach. He gets everybody to buy in. He knows how to get the best out of his players. But with that, it was a sign and trade. So the sign and trade does bring some assets back to Philadelphia.
Definitely does. But another team that we definitely have to take a look at, just because of some of the surprising things that have kind of happened in such a small amount of time, is the Golden State Warriors. Now, with them, obviously, they were able to bring back Klay Thompson, but they did lose Kevin Durant. They did lose Andre Iguodala. I was saying that right earlier. Don't mind me. It's just this red mark.
It's the sun, man.
It's the sun. It got me good. But the biggest thing, and I think this is probably one of the more surprising moves, was they were able to execute a sign and trade to get D'Angelo Russell.
I couldn't believe it.
I don't think anybody could.
I couldn't believe it. I was speechless, and I immediately texted you with those wide-eyed face emoji, like 10 of them. Like, What in the world is going on here? The Warriors, we knew they were going to probably lose Kevin Durant.
Yeah, we had that feeling.
And they get Klay Thompson, that was one of their biggest priorities.
Yes.
The fact that you were able to do a sign and trade with to get D'Angelo Russell from Brooklyn. So here's where we were talking about this last week, and you're like, what is Brooklyn going to do if they sign Kyrie? This is a perfect opportunity. This is probably exactly what Brooklyn wanted.
Oh, absolutely.
Not only are you getting Kevin Durant from the Warriors in a straight up just free agency move, but you're also giving them a guy that you don't really need or want now anyway, and you're getting assets back.
And that's what I think was most interesting about this, is that the Nets at one point were literally going to just renounce rights and let him walk.
That was the expected move, is they were going to renounce his rights because now they've got Kyrie, they got KD. There's no point to having D'Angelo Russell anymore.
That, and even if they were able to move him, the expectation was they weren't going to get anything better than like a 50th or 60th round or 60th pick, second rounder for him in any kind of way, because you're basically renting him at that point. But they were able to get a protected future first round pick from the Warriors. So definitely a great move.
The Warriors have shipped out so many picks already this offseason. I'm going to get to that a little bit later.
Oh, yeah.
But the fact that they were able to bring in D'Angelo Russell, now their backcourt is scary. You've got Steph Curry. You got Steph Curry playing the point. You got D'Angelo Russell's probably going to play the 2. And then you got Klay Thompson now going to play the 3. And then you still got Draymond Green at the 4. They signed some other players, like they just re-signed Kevon Looney within the last hour or so to a 3-year deal. So they gained quite a bit because now you got more shooting, which is what the Warriors have been all about.
Oh yes.
But like you said, they lost Andre Iguodala. They had to move him in order to bring on D'Angelo Russell. So now they trade him to Memphis, and they traded away a plethora of picks to go with it. The Memphis Grizzlies are probably just going to buy out his contract, and then Iguodala can go elsewhere.
I tell you what, it's just been so wild seeing this happen, because even like a week ago, we were sitting here talking about the Warriors and is their window closing? Are they going to be able to survive an injured Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson? Are they going to be able to keep things going and have some kind of success? Now looking at it, you got to think the Warriors got a good shot to make it all the way to the finals now.
It's potential. They still have. They're still going to be an offensive juggernaut.
Absolutely.
Even without KD, and like I said, bringing in D'Angelo Russell, who's now another young player. Like this, I mean, he's only, what, 23?
23.
23 years old? And you got Clay is in his late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Steph is, I think, 30 now.
He is.
So, I mean, you can still keep this thing going for a bit, but it's really going to be interesting with next year because they got Draymond Green's going to be a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a really interesting couple years ahead of them, but I really think that they still obviously have a shot. But getting D'Angelo Russell was a huge move. It's a bit of a head scratcher to me, but it's a huge move nonetheless.
Still a huge move no matter how you look at it. But, you know, it's been just so much happening in these 2 days. It's been utterly insane.
Yeah. The only other team that we have not yet mentioned that's of note, and I know which one you're thinking I'm going to talk about, but not yet, because I got one more load to dump on somebody else first.
Oh, snap.
But, of course, we're talking about with Kemba Walker leaving Charlotte to go to Boston, and they get Terry Rozier back. The Charlotte Hornets.
What is Michael Jordan doing?
Michael Jordan, what are you doing, man? You could have offered Kemba a max contract, or at least close to it, and he was willing to take less because he wanted you to go get other players. You go, nah, we're good. So you do a sign and trade. You get Terry Rozier, who could be a pretty good piece, but he's not going to be an all-star caliber player.
Nope.
So, okay, you got him. Not only did you lose Kemba Walker, who was your top leading scorer last year, you lost Jeremy Lamb now also yesterday in the first day of free agency to the Indiana Pacers.
Yep. Agreed to a 4-year deal.
And he's your second leading scorer, who's also a young centerpiece guard in an NBA that is dependent on guard play. So now if you're Charlotte, and of course you lost Frank Kaminsky, just signed with Phoenix Suns today.
Yep, 2 years, 10
for
mil.
a 2-year deal. I mean, you're losing players left and right. Charlotte is, if not close to it, they're going to be the next New York Knicks. They're going to be the next New York Knicks because nobody wants to play there. It's a small market.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Jordan has shown, without a shadow of a doubt, he's one of the worst drafters I've ever seen.
Oh, absolutely.
One of the worst drafters I've ever seen in my entire life. And it just goes to show that he doesn't know how to manage. He was a great player, doesn't know crap. It's like when Larry Bird or Isaiah Thomas were coaching. I love Isaiah Thomas. I love Larry Bird. They were terrible coaches. Larry Bird wasn't too bad. Isaiah Thomas, awful coach. When he was like a basketball operations guy for the New York Knicks, terrible executive. Isaiah Thomas was a great player, terrible at everything else. Jordan's the same way.
I have to agree, honestly. And, you know, sometimes players just don't translate into good execs for these teams. And that goes for all sports. So, at the end of the day, this is what Michael Jordan has done to this franchise. And I have to absolutely agree. I feel the Charlotte Hornets are about to become the next New York Knicks. They are being run into the ground, and all the while losing great talent along the way. Like you said, they lost their little top 2 scorers last season.
Lost the top 2 scorers, gone. But it's okay because a couple years ago you signed Nick Batum to a monster dumb contract that you're now still eating. You're now still eating that contract.
Yeah, eating it hard topped with hot sauce.
Yeah.
I tell you what, it's just been horrible, and it's saddening just because so many thought that with Michael Jordan leading the helm of that franchise and then returning to Charlotte that there could be really something here, but it's just been a crap show. It's just been a dumpster fire. Yeah,
and like you said, just goes to show that not always great players are going to be great executives. I mean, you just think, like you said, Jordan, absolute greatest player of all time.
Absolute is the greatest player of all time.
And you would think that kind of a basketball mind could be like, okay, this will work here, and like you think they'd be good at developing a team because you know what it would take to win.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly not the case because, Jordan wanted to win, but he was also a lot about himself too.
Oh yeah, and I think that showed in a lot of ways too. Just because he doesn't like to have players that are going to butt up against him too hard. He likes to make sure
he doesn't like getting shown up.
That's the biggest thing.
Was it last year or the year before or something? He was watching a Hornets practice and he just got in and started playing one-on-one against players and like talking trash to them. And it's like, dude, you're in your 50s. It's okay. You can let go. You can let it go. That's part of the reason why he came out of retirement when he's in Washington. Like, he was an exec for the Wizards, and then goes, you know what? No, I'm better than all these guys on the court. I'm going to come back and still play.
Oh my goodness!
And it was just a dumpster fire of a situation.
It really was.
But hey, speaking of dumpster fires,
are we going to it?
We're going to it.
Oh man, I got to prep the graphic.
Get it ready, because New York Knicks. Just fold it. Just fold it up. Just put it away. Just get rid of it. The New York Knicks are a great example of why tanking doesn't work.
Tanking for Tua? Hashtag? Oh, sorry.
Wrong sport. This is a good example of why tanking doesn't always work. James Dolan, fake teeth and all, smiled and just your face says it all.
Sick.
Fake teeth and all, smiled and said, "This is going to be the Knicks summer. We are going to be big major players in the free agency market, and we're going to bring hope back to this franchise, and we're going to get KD and Kyrie, and the Knicks are back."
How'd that work out?
And they were going to get Zion Williamson.
Somehow.
So their expectation was, we're getting the number 1 pick, then we're going to get KD, then we're going to get Kyrie, and all is going to be right in the Madison Square Garden world.
Oh, man, but what was the reality?
The reality is, you didn't get the first pick, which you got RJ Barrett, is a good piece.
Yes, probably your only one.
He could be a good piece down the road.
For another team, maybe.
Your top marquee free agent, no disrespect to this player because he's a great piece and he's going to be a great player. You got Julius Randle as your marquee piece.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go and sign. You know what this team needs? This team needs a veteran. Let's go get Taj Gibson, who's beyond his prime. We need we need other veterans? Oh, we need shooters. Let's go get Wayne Ellington. Ooh. Yikes. We need a young player. We need young scorers to build around. Let's go get Bobby Portis. Oh, you know what? No, you know what we need? We can't get Kyrie, but we've got a leader. We got a leader at point guard. Let's go get Alfred Payton.
How'd that work for Orlando?
Let's go get Alfred Payton. No offensive game whatsoever.
Oh my goodness. Just floppy hair.
But wait, you know what? New York's going to be exciting because not only are we getting one shooter, we're getting 2 shooters. We're going to get Reggie Bullock.
You know what? This whole team is Bullock. I tell you what, this is ridiculous.
Oh my God. The only saving grace that this Knicks team has right now is the fact that you got Dennis Smith Jr. on the team, who's your starting point guard. Kevin Knox could be a good player down the road.
He could be.
Mitchell Robinson was a big surprise. Everybody wants him. He could be a good piece. And if you get all those guys to play well with RJ Barrett together, you could potentially have a decent team.
I hope you just put like a 200 font size in bold italics with lights and signs pointing at it, trying to act like this is actually going to happen in some way that the Knicks might be able to come together and be good. That's a huge if, sir.
That's a huge if. But hey,
the biggest if.
They don't have their plan is not as well laid out as the Giants.
Oh.
I'm sorry. If you're a New York fan and you woke up Monday morning and you're just like,
you better switch to Brooklyn.
It is not a dream. Knicks fans, it is not a dream. I'm sorry.
We're so sorry.
And here's my favorite thing about
sorry, not sorry.
My favorite thing about this situation is I hope and pray, and I've said this before because I've dumped all over him before. I hope and pray that people like Spike Lee, the Michael Rappaports, the Stephen A's, those guys create a movement to get rid of James Dolan.
I mean, we can only hope.
So this sounds really.
As he composes himself.
This is gonna sound really bad. The only way the Knicks have a snowball's chance in hell of getting better is if James Dolan sells the team or dies.
Wow. So you just gave the Vince McMahon approach.
I mean, it's the same approach I had with the Raiders.
Are you CM Punk? Are you pipe bombing right now?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, that's the same thing people said about the Raiders.
This is true.
If Al Davis passes away or gives up the team, Raiders might have a chance. His son takes over. Jury's still out on that one, but
jury's still out. But it's done better than they used to.
It's like with the Cowboys too. Like
True.
all these big like owners. It's like, okay, well, but here's the thing. With James Dolan, he's got to pull himself out of the fantasy land that he's in.
I'm about to say that he's living in right now.
Dude, this ain't Game of Thrones. You ain't Cersei Lannister. You are not the all supreme leader, okay?
Oh,
Cersei dies at the end. I hope you know this.
Well, that would never mind. I'm not even gonna go there. Go ahead.
Anyway, because everything she built collapses on top of her.
Literally.
That's exactly what's gonna happen to James Dolan. So I honestly hope that the fan, like the only way you can change things, if you're a New York Knicks fan and you are somehow listening to this podcast, first of all, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Second,
very much. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Yeah. Second, the only way you can force their hand, stop putting money in their pockets.
Yes.
Stop buying merchandise. Stop going to games. Stop watching the TV.
Yes.
Stop watching the games.
Stop going to games.
Yeah. Stop spending money. Stop supporting them.
Yep.
That doesn't mean go support the Nets, because I know that is a huge taboo thing in New York.
But you might be better off.
The Knicks' biggest nightmare waking up Monday morning was seeing that KD and Kyrie Irving
are both in their backyard.
Are in New York, but not for the Knicks. All this comes back to I think this is all Dolan.
It absolutely is. Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, he's I feel like he's tanking this team.
To add more fuel to the fire.
Oh man.
Have you seen the statement that was brought out by the Knicks?
Briefly.
President Steve Mills put out this statement.
Oh, I love it. I wish I would have made a graphic for it.
And I quote, "While we understand that some Knicks fans could be disappointed with tonight's news, we continue to be upbeat and confident in our plans to rebuild the Knicks to compete for championships in the future, both through the draft and targeted free agents." This was released 3 hours after free agency started.
He does know the draft already passed, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Oh,
and then it came out today that, so this wasn't new news, but it's now just more amplified because of what happened with KD and Kyrie Irving. Mm-hmm. But apparently the Knicks were not even going to offer Kevin Durant the max amount of money.
I heard
There's
about
been rumor for like the last week or so that because of his injury, they didn't want to offer him max.
Which to an extent makes sense. But this is KD we're talking about.
Okay, but actually it doesn't make sense.
Actually, you know what? If you're a normal team, it would make sense.
No.
If you're the Knicks,
then why would Golden State offer him the max, being in that situation and knowing what happened?
Because Golden State's Golden State. It's one thing when you're a proven winner who's actually won some championships recently, but when you're the Knicks, they should be not just, I mean, I can understand from a standpoint you don't want to offer max on a player that's injured just because you don't know exactly what's going to happen.
Because, Amari Stoudemire, I remember that happened to him.
Exactly. A perfect example is Amari Stoudemire. However, in the Knicks position, you need to be not only throwing them a max contract, you need to give him 1/5 of the state of New York. You need to try and give him some type of lifelong food deal. You need to try and make sure you just bought him a new car. Make sure that he got never mind, I'm not going to go that deep. We're not going to Le'Veon Bell this, okay?
Okay, so, yeah, don't do that.
I was going to go that far, but
don't go that far.
This is a family program,
This is a family program, sir.
That and Chris Carnes will come in here and F5 me. So at the end of the day, you need to throw everything you can at a guy like this and just the hope that he would even sniff your offer and possibly come to your franchise. The Knicks cannot be screwing around like this. I understand not wanting to take a chance on an injured guy. I get it. I do. But you're the Knicks. Let's be honest. What do you have going for you?
And it's really unfortunate because the Knicks could be the Knicks. I mean, New York being one of the biggest media cities and one of the biggest markets, especially in the U.S., but it's just they desperately need New York to be successful.
Absolutely.
But the problem is when you got guys like James Dolan running the show, and then he's just like, he's just lying back on his laurels that this is Madison Square Garden and this is like the mecca of basketball. I'm sorry, man. Madison Square Garden, even though it's been renovated lately, it is not the mecca anymore.
Yeah, it used to be a mecca for a lot of things, but guess what? It is now yet just another venue like any other. And I hate to take away, I don't mean to take away from the prestige of MSG, but you know what? They sure had WrestleMania 1 there. When's the last Mania you saw there?
It's not big enough anymore.
Exactly. And that's the point, is that MSG is literally just another venue. And he's trying to treat it like it's some type of grand mecca, like you said, and it's not anymore.
Well, it's more so he's treating his position like he is a supreme ruler. Because I made that joke.
You're not lying.
I mean, he's even said it before where he's like the head of like the board or the chairman or whatever, and he's just a voice. And he goes, "Nah, it's me. Like, I'm the guy who does it." Like, okay, dude. First of all, get off your high horse.
Yes.
Like, you have other people to answer to, and you have the fans to answer to.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that the way he's been going about this, there's no way the Knicks get better until he gives up the team. There's no way they get better until he gives up the team.
Sadly, I have to absolutely agree, because we've seen this in a lot of situations where ownership wants to try and take different directions to try and improve a team, and every move seems to just be the wrong move. So at that point, what are you left with? You got to sell and move on. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't.
It won't happen. It won't happen unless there's a lot of pressure on him from
sponsors,
people that matter.
Fans.
And then if there's less money coming in revenue because fans stop going to games, stop buying merchandise, stop subscribing to whatever it is they sell, and
you know, even though you might say it might be kind of taboo in New York, I will not be surprised if you see a certain amount of Knicks fans make that jump to the Nets.
Ooh, oh no.
You could say no, but younger fans, how much do you see younger fans following tradition in any kind of way like that?
Well, younger fans, it's also different. They follow players.
Yes, but they also are the ones that drive a lot of this anymore, just because they're the ones that have to go die hard and buy the shoes, buy the jerseys, buy all the merchandise. And that's the thing you see, especially when this is supposed to be a family-friendly game. You think any family's going to want to take their kids to see the crappy the Knicks? No, they're going to go see the more successful and the more name recognition that they have for players with the Nets.
Well, the Nets definitely will get a lot more. They'll get a lot more recognition now in the city of New York, of course, with these moves. So that part of your point I can agree with. Yeah. But New York people are diehard, man. They are diehard. There is no absolute way that a lifelong Knicks fan will ever switch over to a net.
Yeah, but maybe a 3, 4, 5 year Knicks fan probably will.
No, because, I mean, okay, who'd you grow up watching?
Orlando Magic.
Okay, Notre Dame.
What about them?
Grew up watching them, right?
All day.
All day.
All day, every day.
Was that instilled? No, time out.
I have multiple decades of fandom.
Time out. Did you grow up watching them?
Yes.
Who instilled that in you? Family?
Yes.
Would you ever in your lifetime, if, say, for instance, your coach or the guy who is a Lou Holtz or a Brian Kelly went to coach at Michigan or USC? I'm dead serious.
Right,
Would you ever see that happen?
Into perspective. I have this a lot of fans have noticed, if you've been watching our show for a while, I do have this Miami Canes flag pendant right here. I keep this for one certain reason. I do have a soft spot for the Miami Hurricanes for one reason and one reason alone. They were a team that were seriously recruiting me when I was playing semi-pro football. Now, with that, obviously, I didn't go play for the Canes and all that, so, I didn't have to wear, the chain gang stuff and all that. But at the end of the day, it's a team I always watch and always keep track of because they are a team that recruited me and had serious interest in me. Now, a lot of things like that will happen, will help change a person's perspective. Yes, diehard Notre Dame through and through. If you say anything else, I'm going to powerbomb you through a wall. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to have a little bit of love for Miami. And even funnier, those are two huge rivals.
Better example. Let's say
don't you dare bring the Eagles into this.
Your boy Carson Wentz.
Don't you? If he goes to, are you gonna say he's gonna go to Dallas or Washington or New York?
What happens if he goes to New York?
Gotta be way better than Dallas, but still,
Okay, use Dallas as an example. I'm like, but I'm trying to get
that jersey. Jersey burns. I'm sorry.
You see the point I'm trying to make, though.
I do see the point you're trying to make, and I'm not saying that you're wrong necessarily. I'm just saying that with an older generation, no, they're going to be diehard. They're not going to give it up. I have 3 decades of Notre Dame fandom that I'll never give up. However, when you have these younger fans that are in their mid to early 20s that are a part of this millennial movement and everything. Those are guys that are going to jump all over the damn place with their fandom because, like you said, they usually follow players more so than teams now.
Which is why I don't see...
The old guard always dies out, too. So
yeah, but with the younger fans, they follow players. So the fact that they even would root for a specific team is kind of a moot point. Like, they wouldn't.
To an extent.
But, I mean, if you say, for instance, you grow up in New York and your families watch the Knicks... Your families watch the Knicks, but you like Kevin Durant. That's your player. That's who you've loved watching play. Mm-hmm. And now he's a Nets fan. You're getting kicked out of the house. I'm just saying, you're getting kicked out of that house.
Let's not keep in mind how many people want to rebel against their parents and not follow their fandoms. I mean, perfect example. My wife's family, most of their family are Auburn fans. They're from the state of Alabama, if anybody hasn't caught on by now. So they're all Auburn fans. Her and a select few are diehard Crimson Tide and will scream it in your face. Nick Saban this and Roll Tide that. But I'm just saying, you never know truly how people are going to go. And I feel just with how fluid things are, like you said, a lot of younger people follow players rather than teams. They're still going to flock to the Nets. You got Kevin Durant, DeAndre Jordan, and Kyrie Irving. Who's not going to want to go see that? Because what's your alternative with the Knicks? I mean, do we have to go back to the? Let's go back to the graphic.
Just go back to it.
You have R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Wayne Ellington, Bobby Portis, Taj Gibson, Reggie Bullock, Elfrid Payton. You know what? Elfrid Payton, if he still would have the hair, probably would be the most popular of these ones just because of the hair.
I mean, like I said, they have a few young players that they could still build around. But you want to change. You want to change how New York Knicks are seen, even if Dolan stays in power, which he will until something happens to him, or he somehow smartens up and gets rid of the team and sells it. But
one can only hope.
But you got to do it the way. You got to do it the way that the Nets did it. You got to create it by a culture. Get strong people around. They've had 7 vice presidents in the last 10 years. I think it was.
I think it's in the last 20 since '99.
Last 20 since '99. Thank you.
Yes.
They've had 7 vice presidents in that time.
That's horrible.
Or 7 presidents of team operations, whatever. But I mean, still, you want to make the Knicks back to what they used to be. It starts with a strong front office, and it starts with an owner that doesn't get petty by banning fans because they told him he should sell the team, or banning celebrities from the team, or banning players from coming to the team.
Yeah, and that kind of
get your pettiness out of this, dude. Mm-hmm. Like I said, you're not Cersei Lannister. Get out of here.
Yeah, this is a business. Basketball is a business, like any other sport. Cersei Lannister didn't want to work with people because it wasn't a business. She just wanted to kill and rule and get stuff from her brother. Anyways, but at the end of the day, you can't treat sports like this. You're supposed to be fostering culture around your franchise. You're supposed to be drawing people in, not pushing them away.
So their situation, obviously, being one of dire circumstances. But all of this aside, we're having a back and forth. We're talking about who so far do you think has won free agency? Not the whole offseason, just free agency.
At this point, I'd have to look at the Brooklyn Nets and the Boston Celtics. Mainly because with what they already have and what they've been able to acquire, I think they put themselves in the best position to win now and to do it convincingly. What about you?
I'm also going with the Nets because, I mean, you bring in Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and then you flip DeAndre Jordan from the other side of New York.
Right.
That's a big win right there. Yeah,
absolutely.
This first year is not going to bring you a championship because you're basically just hoping, okay, we can make the playoffs and, that'll be it.
Yeah, and just build upon.
Just build upon what you've already got. But the next year... Ooh, man, championship aspirations in Brooklyn already 2 years from now.
Absolutely.
So they are also one of my winners. I have another one. It's a little out of left field.
Okay.
This one kind of encompasses the draft a little bit. The Utah Jazz
The Utah Jazz.
Utah Jazz. So they still have their core players from this offseason. They still got Rudy Gobert, Joe Ingles, and Donovan Mitchell still in their starting. And they made the playoffs with this team. They do pick up Mike Conley. Of course, I'm not including this into this part of the argument. Mm-hmm. That's already a huge boost. But the fact that you brought in Bojan Bogdanovic from Indiana, who he carried that team when Oladipo got hurt.
Very true.
Carried that team. He is going to fit in so well with that team in the rest of that starting lineup. Yeah, they lost Derek Favors.
Yeah, but that was hard to bring Bogdanovic in, honestly.
Yeah, they lost Derek Favors, and they let Ricky Rubio walk. Mm-hmm. That was an expected move because Ricky Rubio is not going to be a point guard to lead you to a championship.
No, definitely not.
But they brought in Bojan Bogdanovic, big-time scorer and a big-time shooter. Look at the rest of now look at that roster. You got Conley, who's a great defender and a playmaker, and he can get his own 20 points a game, 15 points a game, whatever you need. Donovan Mitchell is your star. He's your star go-to guy. Mm-hmm. Bogdanovic is a scorer when you need it, and he can be a spot-up shooter. Ingles, same way. Gobert, there's your rim protector. There's your rebounder.
And he's good at it.
And he is very good at it. So they are like an under the radar, but I think they had a very successful free agency so far. And they've only really signed the one player.
And they still were a 50-win team last season.
And they were still a 50-win team. So I think they're my other winner. It's a quiet under the radar winner, but
I like that one though. That's very nice.
Watch out for Utah this year.
The big thing is though, who has lost thus far in free agency?
Well, we both agree the Knicks are far and above the biggest loser.
That's my big loser.
That's the biggest loser of everything right now. You could even throw in like the Hornets maybe because of the situation we talked about there.
Definitely.
But I'm going to throw another one out of left field on you.
Okay.
Golden State Warriors.
I think I just heard a pin drop in here.
Yeah, you probably did hear a pin drop in the studio. So, of course, losing KD hurts.
Yes.
But that was kind of expected. But the fact that you traded away assets to get D'Angelo Russell, okay, you're hemorrhaging a first-round pick.
Right.
So you're hemorrhaging your future a little bit. But in order to make that move, you had to trade away Andre Iguodala. Mm-hmm. Yes, Iguodala is an older veteran now. Probably doesn't have a whole lot of years left. But he was a heart and soul guy of that team.
He was. He really was. Very beloved.
He was NBA Finals MVP.
Yes.
Won 3 championships with them. He was their lockdown defender that they knew, okay, LeBron James, that's who you're guarding the whole night. Mm-hmm. That's who you know you're guarding the whole night. Not only did they give him away to Memphis, they also gave up 3 future first-round picks to Memphis and say, hey, we just need to get rid of them. 3 future that's 4 first-round picks just to gain 1 player.
That's a lot.
So the Warriors they're in the situation right now where it's like, not compare, this is apples and oranges, but comparing them to when Brooklyn traded away everything to get Pierce and Garnett.
Very true.
It's basically they're trading away everything, including some players, to try to just keep what they have or try to get a little bit better for essentially one more championship run. Because now that you've signed Klay to a max deal, odds are you're probably not going to get Draymond to sign a max deal next year. That's not going to work. You've signed some young players. You got Kevon Looney back. We talked about that already. But the fact that you had to trade away four first-round picks and trade away your anchor of a veteran to bring in D'Angelo Russell, who's a guard in a already loaded backcourt, I think the Warriors are a big loser because of this.
Well, that and to expand more on the picks they gave up, that's a 2024 protected first-round pick. That is a 2025 protected first rounder and a 2026 unprotected first rounder. So that's a first round pick in 3 straight drafts.
Yeah.
That's only 5 years from now. And a lot of these players that they've signed and brought in were only on like 4-year deals. So you are really hurting your future.
This reminds me of and I mentioned Brooklyn Nets. I have a way better comparison for this.
Okay.
The Phoenix Suns.
Ooh.
When the Phoenix Suns had Nash and Stoudemire, and they had they made
That great team.
playoff runs every single year. They kept trading away first-round picks just to try to keep what they had and try to win a championship. Now look at them. Now they're in the
horrible.
They lost all those first-round picks, which put them in the cellar, and now they can't get out of the cellar. So I think the Warriors, if they're not careful, that's what their destiny is.
I mean, at least they're used to it in their past, though. So,
I mean, it's a great run. I mean, I don't know if the Warriors are going to win another one, but I mean,
it's possible. And I think with the kind of moves they've made, obviously their window, they're thinking within the next 3 to 4 years is what they have left. So,
and they better hope so that they get another at least 1 or 2 championships, because if you don't, after those guys now leave, you've got 0 first-round picks for 3 years in a row. Plus, you're giving up for the D'Angelo Russell trade. That was a first-round pick, I think, within the next year or 2. So I think they have like 3 or 4. I think they have 4 years in a row where they don't have a first-round pick. Which if you again ask Phoenix, that'll kill you.
Oh, it absolutely will kill you. And I'm trying to look up right now exactly what pick that is, but I cannot find it as of right now. But yeah, so you're definitely hurting themselves in the future with these kinds of moves. Now, that's not to say that come next season or the season after, they might not make more moves to try and regain some of that capital. But as of right now, they pretty much have mortgaged their future for now.
Absolutely. So then, of course, all this again begs the question: who is the favorite now? Starting the West, because we're already talking about the Warriors.
Yeah, we're already talking about the Warriors. So for me,
who's the favorites? For
me, I honestly had to look at this kind of hard, and I feel the dysfunction and back and forth going on in Houston, I don't feel like they're going to be there. Portland had a great run, but I still feel a lot of it's really around 1 or 2 players rather than a whole team. Looking at it all the way through, I really feel like it all comes down to the LA Lakers and to the Golden State Warriors. Now, keep in mind, Kawhi Leonard at this point has not signed.
Right.
So him signing somewhere, which presumably will be in the West, could really affect how this looks. However, as of right now, I would have to say the LA Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. Now, Golden State, like we just mentioned, Golden State has mortgaged their future at this point now to try and win championships in these next 3 to 4 years. So I feel that they are making that huge push now. Now, with the LA Lakers, you still got LeBron, who now just gave up number 23 to Anthony Davis to appease him. And with other pieces they're trying to bring in, if they can get what they need, the Lakers are going to be a very formidable team. Even with just LeBron and Anthony Davis, they're going to be formidable just there, just because those are 2 extremely dynamic players. So really, for me, Lakers, Warriors.
I also thought pretty hard about this, and I honestly don't have a favorite, because I think it's completely wide open. With the Warriors basically falling apart, they're gonna be without Klay Thompson for probably a good majority of the year. Of course, you lost Iguodala, you lost KD. You're probably gonna lose DeMarcus Cousins too, even though his impact wasn't as big as it could have been.
Right.
They are still in the mix, of course, but they've kind of just fallen out. They've got a lot to prove to show that they are still one of the teams to beat. Lakers, you talked about that. They are also in this mix. If they get Kawhi, they have to be championship or bust, because they will have 0 cap space. 0.
Yes, absolutely.
They will only be able to sign veteran minimum guys and just league minimum guys.
Hello, Carmelo Anthony.
You won't even be able to get anybody from a mid-level exemption, because that's gone unless you have any trade exemptions. Like you're done. All your team, you only have like 4 or 5 players on the roster right now. You're barely going to be able to field a team if you sign Kawhi Leonard. But
that's why I feel like they're going to be very hard pressed to make it happen.
But if they don't sign Kawhi Leonard, now you have all that money. You can go out and get other free agents. Problem is, a majority of them are already signing. So you're basically stuck in limbo if you're the Lakers.
Yeah, you definitely are. And I think that's something that's really going to hurt them. But who knows how things will actually work out. There's a lot of little pieces that move along with these kinds of things. So,
yeah,
you never really know. But
other teams, Rockets are still going to be in there if Chris Paul goes away, then then I think that's pretty much done. They did re-sign a few players. Rockets aren't going to win any championships with James Harden and D'Antoni at the helm.
No, I thought maybe they'd have a shot. Obviously, they were my pick last season, but I feel like with just all the different aspects of the discontent and all these back and forth. Oh well, there's these issues. Oh well, now there's not these issues. I think it's just a even boiling pot of just drama and distraction. Even
beforehand, I don't think they were championship caliber anyway. I mean, they were close, but I don't think so. Or talked about the Jazz. They're going to be a team to watch out for this year. Blazers. Now you talked about how they might not be there. Still got McCollum. They signed Damian Lillard to a massive contract extension, 6 years, $285 million. One of the largest contracts in American sports. And they actually just made a move. I think it was earlier today, Monday. They ended up getting Hassan Whiteside from Miami.
That they did. So huge 4-team trade.
That now fills the hole that Yusuf Nurkic. Of course, he had that nasty injury, nasty leg injury.
Nasty.
So now he's going to be a starter that you're going to plug in there. I think they could still make another run at a Western Conference Finals, depending on how the rest of the West falls. And of course, Kawhi is a big domino here. If he stays in the East, I think the West is wide open. But if he signs with the Clippers, you got to throw the Clippers in here now. If he signs with the Lakers, it's going to be the Lakers versus the field, I think.
I have to agree.
I think that's why I can't just pick one, because there's really I don't think there's a pecking order as far as, okay, here's your clear 1, 2, 3, 4. And this could be anybody's ball game.
Definitely a good argument. But looking at from the West to the East, who's your favorite in the East?
Again, depending on if Kawhi goes West. So if he stays in the East, Toronto's obviously going to have to be the favorite because they are coming off defending champion. Milwaukee's still going to be up there. They kept a lot of their pieces. They kept George Hill, kept Chris Middleton, kept Brook Lopez. They signed Wesley Matthews, who he's a good guard that played in Indiana last year. And they signed Robin Lopez, Brooks' twin. And so that way, those two actually, first time they played together since I think it was 2008 or 2009.
Aww.
Yeah, since they played at Stanford together. So they are still going to be the team that everyone's going to have to go through. I think they still are going to be the number one team in the East next year. Boston, I throw in this mix as well because of them picking up Cantor and Kemba Walker. I think they are going to be a really dangerous team, assuming they can all mesh well. But again, Kyrie or Kawhi, if he stays East, Toronto goes in this mix too. Philadelphia, maybe you could throw in here, but I think they've lost too much. They're going to be one of the best defensive teams.
Oh, for sure.
In the league, but I think they've lost too much to be in this top 3 conversation.
Yeah, for me, looking at this, a lot of everything hinges on Kawhi with a lot of these just because Kawhi is such a dynamic player. If Kawhi returns to Toronto, Toronto's the clear-cut favorite in the East for me just because they do return a lot of players still with Pascal Siakam, Marc Gasol's even coming back, so and of course Kyle Lowry, can't forget him. So they have a lot of great things going on in Toronto. So if they get Kawhi back, that's going to be a lock. However, if Kawhi heads west, I think it's basically a 3-team race, maybe a 4-team race, but it really just kind of depends upon how a lot of things work out. But as of right now, I would say Kawhi heads west. It's really a tie at first with Milwaukee, Boston, and Philly for me. Milwaukee, obviously, great run last season, great work from Giannis, and like you said earlier, re-signed a lot of players, brought in Robin Lopez, so they've been able to kind of help bolster that roster a little bit to make it more than just, Giannis. And trying to make it a little bit more well-rounded. Boston made great moves, honestly, and I love what they've done, being able to bring in Kemba Walker. I think that's one of their biggest pickups, along with Enes Kanter. But we'll definitely see how that works out. But they have a great, young, talented roster that could really help grow around Kemba Walker and Enes Kanter. So we'll definitely see how things work out. In Philadelphia, I know you don't feel real good on them offensively, but I feel we always know, what's the old adage? Defense wins championships. So I think Philadelphia can still be in that mix. It's just really if they can find more help and get guys to really step up more so than anything. Because like you said, they did lose a lot, especially losing J.J. Redick and Jimmy Butler. Those are two huge blows for them. So we'll definitely see how that works out. But do not count out Brooklyn. And I know we've always talked about this, maybe 2 years away, but honestly, with the kind of moves they've made, and if these guys can really start gelling and get something going good, maybe mid to late season, Brooklyn could be there, honestly. So definitely watch out for Brooklyn as well.
I agree. I think Brooklyn could be in this conversation. It's going to depend, just like you said, how do they gel together, and what is the rest of the East going to look like? I mean, if Boston doesn't pan out, or if Milwaukee just is this year was just a fluke, if they kind of fall back to where they were, then yeah, Brooklyn could be really positions themselves to be a top 1, top 2 team.
Definitely could. But you know who's always top in sports reporting? That's right. That's Final Score, baby. That's right. Always got to check out Final Score. And to do so, you got to follow us on social media. So you got to hop over to Facebook, Twitter, and now Instagram, and check us out at PCN Final Score. Give us a like, give us a follow. Check out everything we got going on, because we always have something going on. Just like when we come back from break, we're going to be talking about our XFL Summer Showcase that we went to this past weekend, and it was an amazing time. I know I had a great time. Did you have a great time?
Yeah, my face shows that I'm so burnt.
This is not burned. This is me being glued to the TV, I swear.
Right.
I swear.
No, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it definitely was a lot of fun. But definitely make sure you stay tuned as we go into that. But got to pay that light bill. So here's a word from our sponsors.
The following support and sponsor Podcast City Network. City Limits Tap Room, sports bar in DeLand, Florida, has brew on tap, serve food, the grilled cheese is excellent. For upcoming events, check out City Limits Tap Room on Facebook.com/City Limits Tap Room. Atlantic Sounds has thousands of new and used vinyl records and CDs. If they don't have it, they can order it for you. Same location since 1982. For more updates on what's new, check out Atlantic Sounds on Facebook.com/Atlantic Sounds Vinyl. Sports Sanity Customs have worked with organizations from custom embroidering polo shirts to jerseys for your kids' baseball team. They do it all. Armed with state-of-the-art equipment and an in-house design team, they are equipped to take on your next project. Visit their website to learn more, sportsanitycustoms.com. Visit Sports Sanity Customs on Facebook.com/SportsSanityCustoms. 3Count Design offers a wide range of graphic design products, video, photography and other forms of media. Everything from t-shirt designs to websites. Visit Facebook.com/3CountDesign for more. Demo Blast Studios, an explosion of imagination. Original artwork, podcasts, video, apparel and more. Visit DemoBlastStudios.com. Visit Demoblast Studios on Facebook.com/Demoblast Studios, the best family entertainment pro wrestling show in the state of Kentucky. Kentucky's Own Wrestling brings quality family vintage wrestling to a town near you. Kentucky's Own Wrestling offers a ladies division in wrestling and a training school. Kentucky's Own Wrestling is the current longest running Southern promotion. Visit Facebook.com/Somerset Kentucky's Own Wrestling. All supporters and sponsors are brought to you by Podcast City Network.
Boom. Helps if I unmute the mics. A little bit of quietness. So let's try this one more time. And we are back here on Final Score, episode 20.
Episode 20.
Yeah, it helps if you unmute the mics and do all that. You know, I'm sure people are probably thinking like, this guy's just saying things and, you know, there's no words coming out, no sound. So anyways, before we went to
Who hired you as a producer?
I don't know. So, somebody thought it was a great idea.
Chris Carnage, get him on the phone.
Dude, please do not get him on the phone.
Don't do that.
We're not going to have a show much longer if that's the case. But either way, this past weekend, though, we had an amazing time as we went down to Tampa Bay, Florida, down to Raymond James Stadium to check out the XFL Summer Showcase event, where we had a lot of collegiate, former NFL, former AAF, all these great football players come out and try out for the XFL. And I'll tell you what, it was an amazing time. What's some of the stuff we saw down there?
Not only did they have the drills for the players, of course, showcasing kind of a combine style where they did a lot of different drills, position-specific drills as well, measurements, things like that. But also, the commissioner of the XFL, Oliver Luck, was there. We had a chance to interview him. Had a chance to interview coach and GM Marc Trestman, as well as a few of the players. A couple of players, like you said, some ex-NFL players were there. BJ Daniel, we interviewed Ryan Mallet, and Matt Jones from University of Florida.
Oh, yes.
All of those players were in attendance, and we had a chance to do some interviews with them. But talking about everything from the XFL, what to expect this coming year. Of course, they did a little chalk talk, press conference kind of thing,
right?
Which is very unique, and you don't really see that kind of thing when it comes to
that was very
sports.
unique. That, and they also were able to update us on a lot of the rules that were coming out, and things considering branding, logos, colors for the teams, all kinds of great information that we found out in these interviews. But to find out more, I guess you got to watch this awesome piece. Check it out.
It's amazing, man. I haven't been in the stadium right around this field in a while, so just to even be out here and walk through the locker rooms and the tunnels and all that, man, it was amazing.
What was your reaction when the XFL reached out?
Another opportunity. I mean, I'm so thankful and blessed. I continue to get opportunities, and I want to just make the most of them.
And you've gotten, you were in the AAF.
Yes.
You know, of course, you've gotten some, the NFL has taken a look at kind of what are your takeaways from not only the NFL but just your AAF experience?
Well, I mean, I'm excited and thankful for some of the guys that had opportunities outside the AAF to go to the NFL. That's what that league was, supposed to be all about. And regardless of logistical ways and whys of why it didn't work out or did not, you got guys who have more opportunities because of it. So that's a blessing. That's really cool in itself. And even with this league, I don't know what's to come of it, but I'm excited to be a part of it and have this opportunity. So, hopefully not only just myself, but there's other guys in this field today that possibly have opportunities to move on to the next level as well.
What are you hoping comes of it? Are you hoping one day to crack, break into the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, I'm working hard. Just trying to make sure that opportunity that's placed in front of me now, I solidify that. Not looking too far down the head, head down the road. But today was very important for me to just have a good showing and show that I can still throw the ball and run around and play football. So I'm very thankful for what I did today.
Yeah, one interesting kind of rule with the XFL is that you can throw kind of multiple passes as long as they're behind the line of scrimmage, right? Okay. But and you've played some quarterbacks, some wide receiver. I mean, it seems like a role that you could really help offenses exploit. I mean,
from a mobile quarterback standpoint, it feels like it might be a good idea, a good plan. Right now I'm focusing only on quarterback. That's what I want to do. That's why I came here. So whatever opportunities come from that on the offensive schemes or plays, I'm just going to make the most of that opportunity.
But it seems like something where you could have like two quarterbacks on the field at the same time.
It's possible. Right? Yeah. I mean, I'm not the OC, but it's possible.
What would it mean to you to get drafted to the Tampa team and get to play on the same field that you played your whole college career?
I mean, it'd be amazing. I had an opportunity to come to Tampa as a young kid and grow here. Grow up into a young man and develop. And actually, this was the university that gave me the opportunity to play football in the first place. So to come back to this community, to be around the same fans and same friends and family, that'd be amazing. I have family and people that haven't had the opportunity to see me play professional sports before, being that I've been in Seattle and San Francisco. So the travel has been, pretty taxing. But if I can just be here in Tampa and people can just hop in the car and drive a couple hours to come see me, that'd be great.
Have you had a chance to talk to Coach Trestman and let him know how much you'd love to play for him?
I've been rubbing elbows with him, so we'll see. We'll see.
How has your past experience with the NFL and the AAF kind of prepared you for this next step of your playing career?
I think it's prepared me a lot. I guess the fortunate thing about being on multiple teams, being around, the Super Bowl teams and Russell Wilson, Marshawn, Matt Ryan, just to name those guys, man, I've learned so much from them and being in those positions to where I'm in the meeting room, watching film with them, learning from them, getting ready for the highest stage and the highest level. I think that's really helped me prepare for anything in life. winning the Super Bowl is a great thing. Losing is something you got to deal with. So the highs and the lows, the ups and downs. So I think it's all helped in the grand scheme of things.
You've ultimately had a really crazy year. I mean, to be going in a league, you're in a practice, mid-practice, you're done. And all of a sudden, the league folds.
Right.
And now you're in a new upstart league. What feels different about this beginning, this start to a league, than the AAF that you just came out?
Well, to start off, I mean, you have great ownership, in Vince McMahon. So, I mean, he's a guy who everyone knows, whether you're a wrestling fan or not, everyone knows who that guy is. And, what he's invested into this league and the opportunity he's trying to give, guys out here on this field. So, it just feels good. I mean, today you can see all the excitement, guys, jumping up and down, the excitement. Even though it's hot, they're still running around doing some good things.
Yeah, can you talk about the combine here? Like, is there any ones that you kind of stood out, or how about in your game that you feel like you need to improve?
Anyone that stood out?
There, or even talking about yourself as specific skill set that you want to work on.
Well, I mean, it was kind of cool to see a lot of the players that I played against in high school, played against in college, played with at USF. So seeing those guys and seeing them run around and how they've matured from, a couple years ago to now is pretty cool. Pretty cool to see.
You've coached in a variety of different types of leagues at this point. How does the XFL differ from the other ones?
Well, I think the XFL is very similar to the CFL. It's just flipped over time of the year. I mean, the players that we're going to be coaching here are very similar to the ones in the CFL. They're going to be hardworking, they're humble, they're going to be hungry to play. They've persevered throughout their careers. They've been resilient, and that's the beauty of the league. When you watch the AAF tape, you see those kind of guys. A lot of them were out here today, and they want an opportunity to continue playing the game that they love. And they showed up here with an opportunity, and we feel blessed just to have the chance to coach them, because we know they love football as much as we do as coaches, and that makes it a lot of fun. That's the kind of league it's going to be.
Mark, we just talked to Ryan Mallet, and he's a guy you know well. Yeah. I just want to ask you what he can bring and what it means to get somebody who still has the hunger he has at his age.
Yeah, Ryan's been through a lot. He's had adversity, and he'll own the mistakes that he's made in his career, which is what one of the things I really like about him. I had a chance to coach him in Baltimore, and I found him to be a very engaging, competitive team guy, respected everybody in the organization, was reliable. And throughout his career, he's had moments of unreliability, that's hurt himself. And, guys are allowed in their journey to be transformed. And, I tell quarterbacks all the time is that everyone's journey is different. I mean, Steve Young didn't play till he was 29, and Rich Gannon was 34 and was MVP, and Josh McCown was 35, and all of a sudden he was getting free agent offers, and so every journey is different. Ryan's at an age right now where he knows he's capable of playing at the next level, and he needs an opportunity to put some games on tape, and this might be the place for him. The league might be the place for him. I can't say this will be the place. Right. I don't want to put our team in that position, obviously. Right. But he showed himself that he would be, certainly a guy that is going to be, a part of decision making as the weeks go on.
Coach, PJ Daniels is a local player here. He's trying out, for the quarterback position. And if I was just looking up both timelines, I don't think he ever played for you, but have you been able to see him play?
My experience with him is non-existent, but it started last week. I was talking to a former player of mine, Scott Mitchell, I've coached in Detroit, and he watched him with Salt Lake, and he said he was the best guy there. And then I called my friends in Seattle this past week, and they really liked him in Seattle. And so that was a good start. He's a great human being. Players love. He had a great day out here today. Watch him throw. I mean, he made all the throws through the deep ball. You can see he's a team guy, and I'm looking forward to getting to know him, as we proceed on in the process.
For players who tried out today, I was talking to Oliver Luck about this a little earlier, just because it's a new system, we're going to make sure we get it down. Some are going to be drafted, some get signed, correct? What are most of the players here? What are their future, I guess? With the
I think that the future, as I know it, and we're still in the garage stage of this thing, is that players we want in the league will be signed by the league and go into a pool. and that pool will be a draft that will take place in October. As we move on, the pool will increase because when the NFL makes its cuts, there'll be players coming out that'll make a decision. Are they going to go on practice squad, or they're not available to go on practice squad, and then they can go into the pool. But everybody goes into the pool for the draft. They have to be signed before they go in the pool. And I hope I'm close to being right there. And then October, there'll be a draft.
Coach, can you talk about what you saw? You have an eye for talent. You're from the former from the NFL. Is there anything that kind of stood out today?
Yeah, I think it was the humility of the players, the appreciation for the opportunity to be out here, and we appreciate them coming out. There's guys who played in the AAF that are on tape that were really good players out here today, and they did not have to come out here and work out, and that's impressive. They wanted to make sure that everybody got a look at them, and they didn't have to be out here. And talking to the coaches that I know that they played for, they're special guys, and they're guys that are this close to being NFL type players and could be in the NFL. So I appreciated those. That's where I think we were today. Just a bunch of guys, hungry guys who love football, coaches and players alike, that want to try to do their best to give each other an opportunity to grow in whatever position or role they have in the XFL.
And what can the Tampa Bay players expect from a Trestman style coaching?
Well, I think that culture is number one. Is building a locker room where people respect each other, are humble, and that they don't make it about themselves. We don't want a locker room with a bunch of high maintenance people that take our focus away from what we need to do, and that's win games on game day. So everybody has a role, and nobody's role is more important than anybody else's. And the man or woman who cleans our bathrooms in our locker room, they rate us high on the hierarchy as our quarterback does, or our president, because everybody matters. And I think if you have that kind of respect for each other and hold everybody in high regard, and you stay humble and you don't make it about yourself, you got a chance to win on game day if your quarterback can play highly efficient football.
The forward pass rule is kind of a really interesting tweak, that you can possibly throw multiple times.
Yeah, I don't know how that much will happen. I think it'll be a special play-oriented thing. I don't think we're going to be sitting in our offices. I won't be, trying to find a way to use the double pass, but we'll have something involved in our system of football, and maybe it'll grow. Yeah. But because it's new, a lot of us, haven't done a lot or any of it, so we'll experiment with it and give it a try, and if we like it, it could grow into being something more than, one play a week or something like that.
I mean, in theory, you might be able to have two quarterbacks on the field at the same time.
I don't want to go to the rules.
One even as a decoy even.
Yeah, I don't know that. I haven't thought through it because it's not highest on the hit parade right now, but it's certainly something when we get into. We haven't even finalized the rules, Tom, as you well know. So when we get to that, we'll talk about it. I'm sure there'll be somebody on the staff coming in the morning going, I got 3 or 4 really great ideas, and we'll start there. Probably won't be me, I can tell you.
With all that potential innovation and as far as offensive and defense, all the rules and things like that, how excited are you from a creativity standpoint as far as doing new things on the field?
Well, I think number one is I don't think the game's going to look any different than it does basically in the NFL. And I think Oliver is really cognizant of that. What's going to be different is it's going to be a faster game like it is in the CFL because we're going to be on a faster clock. So we're going to have to work faster, and I think that's going to be engaging to the fan. I know it is in the CFL. The CFL is a great game. Part of it is because of the speed of the game. It goes fast. And with that, the creativity will come. How can we engage the defense and still get the play off and communicate it? So it's going to advance football. I think it's going to be exciting. The kickoff will be exciting. If we get to overtimes, it'll be exciting. The extra point will be exciting because there's no extra point, and there'll be more analytics involved because 1 point will be from the 2 and 2 point will be from the 5, and so we got to get a hold of analytics guys to figure out when we should go for 1 or 2. So that'll be interesting. We'll have to be more efficient, in the red zone. That I think will be exciting. If they get to the halo, it's going to allow for a return. I think that'll be big. And then getting to if we do have ties, I think it's too many hours in the heat here. But the overtime stuff, should be interesting because of the exciting because it's going to flip flop on the field and keep it moving the way they're doing it. So I think they're I think they've been meticulous in coming up with creative things. Number one is the clock. You know, that's going to allow for faster football, but not when the fan's eye sees the game. I think they're going to see a game that they're used to seeing the week earlier. And I think the nuances will be exciting because they've been well thought out by the league.
And with all those things that with your experience and with it being a new league, have they been asking you kind of like input of things, the way to make things better on the field, off the field, things like that?
Oliver Luck is unbelievably inclusive. You know, we got a great group of experienced head coaches, and I think what we've done is they've really methodically asked the right questions. They're giving us time not only to give 8 answers, but 8 times 15, because there's 15 people on the staff. So now you got 90 people inputting, you know, with each key decision, and it's amazing the different ways people see things. And then ultimately the league and Oliver have to make those decisions. So I think they're going about it in the right way, because when the Super Bowl's over and we start, you know, you turn on the TV, you know, your eyes are gonna. We want the eyes of the fan not to be so distorted that they don't want to continue to pay attention. I think Oliver's really, really on top of that and making sure we have a league that respects the game as fans in the NFL and football fans everywhere know it, and I think they'll see that.
Last one, anyone?
You spent some time in Tampa in your career. What is it about like Tampa or the Tampa Bay area that makes you think that they'll embrace an XFL team, that they'll really buy into it?
I think that's a great question. I think one of the things is the type of players that we have, their stories are very engaging. So as in my first press conference, I said, you know, one of our purposes here is to engage the community, is to be able to allow people in our community to come to a game with their family and enjoy the game and be affordable and not take somebody's paycheck away from them. That's number one. And I think if they come here and they see efficient football and they get to know our players and their personalities and their stories, I think that could be very engaging to the fans. I really do. Just coming from the CFL and knowing the stories of our players and how engaging and relatable that is, because our players, if they play in our league, aren't retiring to the golf course. You know, they're not living the rest of their life retired. They're going to have to go out into a community, and if they can engage, if we can help them and lead them in the right direction in our community, and they can brand themselves through you guys, and because their stories are really fascinating, I think it will help grow our brand.
What made you choose Tampa?
December to April. You know, I like Florida. You know, I started my coaching career here. I took the bar right down the block. You know, we're gonna go to breakfast. We're gonna have a classroom, and we're going out to recess in this from December to April. You can't beat that. And you know, we'll have a lot of guys in the pool from this area. You know, it's not a geographic pool, as you guys know, but there's a lot of good football players that'll be in the pool. That when we've got them stacked up, you know, they're gonna be primed in our minds, because we want them to be at home. We want their families to see them play if we can, and that's we don't know that. We're going to take the best players available, but a lot of those best guys are going to be from anywhere from Pensacola all the way down to Miami. We know that, so we hope to get some of them.
All right.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. How you feeling today?
Feeling good. Yeah? Feeling great.
What do you think
about how this all came to be? How the XFL reached out to you?
Just through my agent, him reaching out, and they shot me an invite to come out here and compete with these guys. Like I said, I'm thankful for the opportunity, and I'm glad it happened.
And what was it like out here today for you? Was it kind of what you expected? What surprised you?
Today was great for me to get back in the rhythm. I don't think I lost a step. I think I gained a step. Competitive, man. It was competitive today. It was hot. Nobody complained. We was out here just, giving our all, and I appreciate XFL for this opportunity, giving me the opportunity to be back out here. Like I said, I feel great.
How much more real does it feel to be in an NFL, to be in a stadium that this team will be playing in with the signage all around you, guys wearing the shirts?
Man, I miss it, man. Like I say, I've been, not around for a year. Just been training, man. To be back out here, like it's a great opportunity for me to give me, definitely my hunger back even more. That on this field that I want to be a part of a team.
How much more would it mean to be here, to be in Tampa, getting to play home?
Oh, to be right here at home would be awesome, man. My kids right here, my whole family is right here. That we can, drive to the games and they can, be right here watching me play in Tampa Stadium.
Physically, you feel good in terms of where you are?
Oh, I feel great. Like I said, man, I feel a step ahead of my game. Like when I came out here today, I feel like I proved that, and I had fun competing with these guys, and nobody was a pushover out here, man. We all did great effort.
So you've gotten a taste of both the NFL, obviously, and the AAF, right? What's that?
Not yet.
So kind of what's your takeaways from your NFL experience? How is that helping you out here today?
That I was playing at a high speed, so I feel like I can take my game anywhere. NFL is very high speed. I feel like I hit with high speed too. I use that ability that I've been learning from a lot of my running back coaches throughout my career in NFL. I'm just ready to resume again, man, and get back my motor going.
What can you say about the XFL that they're giving players, whether regardless of former NFL players? What can you say about this movie and your experience, what you see so far?
I feel like it's a great opportunity for the people that haven't been around football or the people who just got out of football. I just feel like it's a great opportunity for everybody collectively to get together and get a team going and get a union going to give everybody the opportunity to get back doing what they're doing. And I feel like it's a lot of talent still out there elsewhere and all around the U.S. So I feel like it's a great opportunity for everybody. Like I said again, I'm thankful for the opportunity.
If you get drafted here in Tampa Bay, you said your hometown, what can you say to the fans?
Oh, that I'll be ready. Like I said, I feel like I'm a step ahead of my game, and I'm gonna be ready. I'm ready to put on the showcase here or anywhere else I go.
So what are you hoping comes from all this? The XFL, are you hoping maybe you get back to the NFL one day? What are you hoping happens?
Oh, most definitely. That's the ultimate goal, is to get back to where I started. But if I take me some tuning up my game to get some more film, that so be it. But right now, like I've been grinding ever since I got out of the NFL, and I'm going to be grinding ever since till I get back, and even more. I just want to be a greater player, an even better player. Like I said, I feel good, and if it takes to be out here with these guys and giving my team effort, I'm all for it. But as far as getting in the NFL, I'm all for that too.
Great, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
There's a lot of different rules that the NFL doesn't allow you to do certain things. It's really going to favor some playmakers like yourself. Are you excited to test them out?
Oh, my energy is, I'm ready. Like today, catching a couple balls, letting the energy go. Not really so worried about the rules, but, the energy takes over me sometimes. So, like I said, I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to let it all out when I get a chance to.
These double forward passes that you've been throwing, are you ready for that?
I'm ready for it, man. Like I said, I got to get some little tuning up, but I'll be ready for a double pass come here in the season.
I'm from Arkansas.
Or played Florida.
I played against Florida.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you feel about the fans here in Florida and having the XFL team?
Oh, South Florida has some of the best fans, around the country. Especially, we're going to get this thing started. Hopefully, I can get into it and be a part of it. I think it's going to be big. We just got to get going. I think guys are ready to compete and play ball.
Having been in multiple places and NFL stops and working with the Patriots, things like that, How do you think that kind of experience has prepared you for not only your career, but even like helping out the younger guys in locker room on the team that you get?
Oh, I just say taking things from the place I've been was learning how to win. I've been on a lot of teams that were really good. I'm not saying that I was, because the reason obviously 12 is up there in New England and all that, but I learned a lot about how to win, how to do it the right way, and now it's just time to put that on the big stage.
Absolutely.
Ryan, just talk about coming out here and just what this means for you as the step to getting back to things and what it can be for you.
For me, it means a lot. I almost hung them up, and then I just looked down, deep down inside of me, and I wasn't ready to hang them up yet. I got a lot of ball left in me.
How close were you? I mean, was there a time where you thought of this in the past tense, or has this always still been something not long enough to write anything off?
The what?
In terms of how seriously you thought about being done.
Man, I was pretty close. And then I watched the Super Bowl, and I was like, I ain't done.
Last fall, the closest you got was just kind of talking with the Redskins, I guess?
Yeah, I had to work out up there.
Yeah. Hard to have a fall away from football? What was that like for you?
I mean, I watched every game that was on TV, so I saw every game, like I was watching film, but hey, it's hard not being in the locker room with the guys and in the meeting room with the other quarterbacks, talking to the coaches. That's probably the hardest part, and that's the part I missed the most. That's another reason I wanted to get back and get going.
How do you match, you've been at a higher level than this for a long time, how do you match the hunger of these young guys that are trying to get on the way up?
They need to match mine.
Yeah.
Real talk. Yeah. That's all I got.
Yeah. Why Florida? Was this just the one that was the best match for you in terms of where to showcase yourself?
Look at the weather, like Arkansas is not quite this pretty. No, it's there's a few different reasons. I know Coach Trestman, I played for him before, and I just felt more comfortable coming where he was at and coming through this there. I think I could still do another one if I need to. I'm not sure exactly, but we'll see.
But this, for you see this as something that is a good path for you to get yourself back to the league?
It's the only path right now. I mean, it's the only way back is I got to go. I got a lot of stuff to prove to a lot of people, not just myself. And, I just want that opportunity to go fix a lot of things that went wrong in the past. So,
physically, you feel good about where you are?
I mean, I ain't weighed this, I guess let's say. I've not been this light since high school, so I feel great.
What do you weigh right now?
245.
Okay. What would you have finished like in the league? What was the most when you finished there?
January 1st, I was 272.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's big. That's 27 pounds. Do you feel it out there walking around?
Well, I feel better just waking up every day, not being, a big old dude. So,
For a name recognition standpoint, if you can get on with the team here, I think it helps the league. I got this.
Well, I'd hope so. I don't know how much name recognition I got, but I mean, it'd be cool to help the league, help the team, get this thing and skyrocket it.
Is it for you? Is it a humbling thing to make the decision that you need this? That there's not going to be a call from an NFL team or anything like that?
Well, I could have told you that, in December.
Right.
Like I said, I mean, for me, it's all about getting out here and proving, what I can do and being in the best shape that I've been and just being healthy mentally, physically, spiritually, and all of that is a really, really good thing for me, especially going into something like this.
Ryan, do you feel that an XFL league that takes place in the spring, does that give you an edge or an advantage?
I think, let me think about that. Does it give you an advantage over who?
Just in general, just condition-wise.
Oh, for sure right now, yeah. I mean, because I wasn't getting ready for training camp anywhere, so it gives me a little bit more time to, go through more game speed stuff and, when training camp comes and you won't be as sore as much, you feel good. So from that aspect, yes.
When you look back on the NFL Combine, when you were training for the NFL, and now you're training similar situation for the XFL, how would you say you've changed?
I mean, I don't think we have enough time to list all the reasons, but it's a lot. It's all been positive, and I'm excited about it.
From a comfort level, you talked about Marc. How much does that help just to have somebody running things who knows you and you know him?
Well, I mean, it definitely makes you comfortable as a player to know that there's, somebody you play for, you've been in a room with before. I mean, it makes you more comfortable coming out here and just letting it loose because they kind of know what you're about. They know they've seen you before, but you still got to come out here and prove yourself every time.
appreciate you taking some time with us, but just a couple of questions. The first thing is we're talking about all the innovations and things like that the XFL wants to bring. What kind of innovations and kind of a plan do they have for the upcoming season that hasn't already been solidified? What kind of stuff do you guys think?
So we've looked at about a dozen changes, innovations that we think make sense, right? Basically, I think football is being played at a very high level, whether it's the NFL or major college football. But we think there are about a dozen things that we can improve on. Some of those will be obvious to fans, but then there's a few that won't be. For example, we're looking at a 25-second play clock versus the 40-second play clock, right? Get more plays. Nobody likes to see guys in the huddle. It's not that interesting. So we have a different kickoff. We've got a different style of punt. We've got an overtime that's fundamentally different, which our broadcast partners, ABC and ESPN and Fox, absolutely love. We're still testing these out because we want to make sure we're not dipping our toe in something and then all of a sudden realize there's an unintended consequence. But we've got about a dozen things that we think are pretty cool and will improve the game. Having said all of that, when people watch a game, they'll see 11-on-11 football, 4 downs, same size field goals, all those things that they're accustomed to.
Has anything in particular that you've seen so far kind of stood out to you that, man, this is really going to work, or we need to tweak this a little bit more?
There's a bunch that I think we are playing around with redefining a forward pass, right? Because so many quarterbacks are in the shotgun formation, and if they want to throw it to the wide receiver, right, who then throws a second pass, it has to be a lateral. If you're in the shotgun at 8 yards, you can't throw it a yard behind you, and have a receiver 6 yards deep, right? You might as well hold the sign. So we've redefined what we think the forward pass means. We've got a different overtime that I think is a very fair way to play, and also can get done in 6 or 7 minutes, because sometimes, as you all know, the college overtime and even the NFL overtime can go on for 25-30 minutes. So
absolutely,
there's a handful of innovations that I really think our fans will like when we launch in February.
Very good. From a business standpoint, what kind of promotions or plans does either the league or the team have for fan engagement and outreach? Because obviously, being a new league, attendance, as we've seen with other ones, can be a struggle. What kind of things do you guys have in plan in store for the fans of Tampa?
So what we want to do is reimagine the game experience, right? We want to be, number one, very affordable. That's part of the reimagination process, going to an NFL game. I go to one every Sunday. You can probably guess which team I root for. But it's expensive, right? And it's hard for a family of 4 to really enjoy it. And it's such a fun experience to go to a pro football game. We want to make sure we can, get a family of 4 in the building for less than $100, and concessions that are affordable, etc. We want to engage the fan and give the fan access to things that they hadn't seen before, whether that's a locker room speech or listen to what's being said in the huddle. There's all sorts of little areas where we think we can provide access to fans that they quite honestly haven't had before with the NFL or with major college ball. We plan to really reach out to fans in this area. The rationale for this entire league is there's 40 million diehard football fans out there who want more football after the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
They have a void in their life. I'm I guess sad to say I admit to being one of those. Probably you too.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of Floridians, because football is so important down here. So that's the group that we're really targeting. And those are folks that I think love the game and want to see the game played at a high level, and I think we can play at that level.
Okay, just 2 more questions. As far as branding and team names, stuff like that, obviously we're just branding the league itself. Do you have kind of a timeline of what you expect? July?
Yeah,
okay.
So July we'll release the team names, team colors, logos, the so-called identity.
The identity, absolutely.
And I think people will love the Tampa name. It's one of my favorites.
Awesome.
I know it, but I can't tell it to you. I have to kill you. I don't want to kill you.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah. I can't wait to hear it. The last one, at the end of year 1, when the year 1 for XFL is all said and done, what would you define as a successful season for the XFL?
So I think there are really 3 things that really matter for us. One is playing good football, right? Playing good quality football, and getting people to watch those football games, whether it's attendance or on television. I think the second one is having really good broadcasts. Right? Football is a national game in this country. We've got great broadcast partners, Fox, ESPN, ABC, that are really national. Our games will be nationally broadcast. So it's making sure that what people see really resonates with them, and they say, yeah, that's I might live in Poughkeepsie, New York, or something, or Madison, Wisconsin, but I really like this. I'll follow this league, even if I don't go to a game live. And the third one, I think, is attendance. That's still maybe the most important single factor of determining, is the league or the team a success in Tampa? How many people took the effort to buy tickets to come out and watch? That's very important. How many people connected
absolutely
with the team?
Very good. Don't want to take up too much time, but I appreciate you stopping for a few minutes.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks
appreciate
for coming out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Man, that was some great stuff. I tell you what, a lot of great interviews that we were able to have. I tell you what, Ryan Mallet, that guy, he's a lot taller than I thought he was going to be.
And he's lost a lot of weight. He had, over the last 6 months, I think it's dropped almost 30 pounds. It was,
he said he was at like 272, I think it was, in January.
He's down to 245, I think.
That was great. And I looking at him, you couldn't really tell. It was like, I thought he weighed like maybe 210. Like, that was like
he did look a little skinny, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had a really humbling. We were really grateful for the XFL to have invited us to this event. But yeah, we're looking forward to covering the XFL Tampa team, which will have their logoing and everything announced sometime in July, they said. So.
Yes. So if you were able to see in the interviews, they'll be announcing a lot of that information in July, and we're very grateful, and hopefully we'll be able to come back and do a lot of great coverage for the XFL and the Tampa Bay affiliate team. But I tell you what, it was a great experience. Make sure you go check out more with the XFL, XFL.com, and check out all the great stuff that they have going on, because I really feel that Vince McMahon, I think he has it right this time.
We'll find out. I'm really hoping that they do get this one right. It was a lot of fun, like we said, to learn about what this league is going to do differently and how they're going to try to change the game. And it was such a great experience. There's not much more I can really say about it. It's just we're just so grateful to have been a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just because, it's not every day you get to go out into the middle of Raymond James Stadium and do media coverage on something like this, especially at a site where there's been 4 Super Bowls. You have another Super Bowl upcoming, a WrestleMania upcoming. Raymond James Stadium is a mecca of a lot of great events that have happened. So it was really, really amazing to be there for that. So, but got to move on to the week ahead. And there's definitely a few notable things happening this upcoming week. What do we got?
We got the 4th of July.
That's right. USA, 4th of July.
So happy Independence Day. If you are listening to this on or near the 4th of July, that's, of course, looking forward to that.
And if you're in the UK, well, sorry. We're just ungrateful, filthy colonials.
Technically today, which will probably be yesterday by the time you're listening to this, today's Canada Day, so happy Canada Day.
Happy Canada. Now you have an NBA championship.
Yeah, happy Canada Day.
That's what they got.
Women's soccer plays tomorrow, Tuesday, July 2nd at 3 o'clock against England in the semifinal.
Ooh, that's going to be
Women's
so
World
exciting.
Cup. Dude, they've been smashing records lately.
Yeah, especially after the U.S. women came off that very, very exciting 2-1 win against France, the home host team. And that was such a great game. I don't know if you got to watch it, but it was amazing.
It's a great game. Obviously, the U.S. being one of the favorites, you knew that was going to be a tough game playing against the host country. But they did what they needed to do, and they show that they are one of the best soccer teams in the world right now.
Oh, absolutely.
And looking forward to this game against England, who is one of the other favorites in this tournament. So this is really going to be a fun game to watch.
Oh, absolutely. So definitely make sure that you check it out. That will be on July 2nd, which will probably be today by the time you listen to this at 3 p.m. So definitely check it out and root on good old USA. And then, of course, we can't forget NBA Summer League Vegas started.
The Summer League, they had actually Utah is starting right now today on the 1st. Vegas starts very, very soon. And this is time for get to watch all the new players on their new teams.
Yes.
And, it's so much fun. Actually, tonight already just started. Ja Morant gets his first taste of the NBA. It's so exciting. This is one of my favorite times of the year for NBA, being a huge basketball fan. The draft, free agency, summer league, so much fun for a basketball fan right now.
And it hits so fast. I love it.
Yeah, definitely very quick.
Yep, but to round it all out for the week ahead, XFL Summer Showcase, the very last one, St. Louis, July 13th. Make sure you go check it out if you're in the area. If not, well, I'm sorry, but you're just going to have to wait for the highlights. Maybe on Final Score. So at the end of the day, though, XFL Summer Showcase will be coming to an end after this. So from this period now, the XFL will start evaluating all the talent and be able to see what's going to make up these teams, especially once they actually announce all the branding. We can get all excited and all that good stuff. But
announce all the branding. The draft is gonna happen in October.
Mhm.
So once they get done with all of this evaluating, they're gonna sign a pool of players to be in that draft, and then that's when things really get real for the XFL.
Absolutely, and it's going to get real fast. So once we get to that point, we're only going to be a mere few months away from the debut of the entire league. So it's definitely going to be an exciting time to be watching the XFL. But sadly, this is the end of episode 20 of Final Score. Man, I tell you what, though, it's been an exciting episode.
It has. It's been so much fun. Just of course, like I'm a big basketball fan, so NBA free agency is always a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
so much chaos going on, but it's always a lot of fun to talk about things, speculate about who's going to be good and who's going to be a dumpster fire.
Yeah, I wore my nice shirt for this.
Yeah, I see that you dressed up.
Well, Chris Carnage told me if I wore better threads, that maybe something better will happen for the show.
Hey,
so,
I mean, you gotta. What's that? You got to dress for the job you want.
Yeah. So am I going? Well, I can't even say that. If I say I'm going for Chris Carnage's job, he'll.
No, don't do that.
No, I can't say that. We might have to just redact that out of this episode.
We might have to just do that.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe I said that on air. Well, hopefully I'll be able to visit you next time on the episode of Final Score. But until then, though, it's been exciting. Make sure that you go and follow us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and now on Instagram at PCN Final Score. Check out all the great stuff that we have going on there. And of course, you can always see us on all of our different outlets on Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Podbean, Google Play Music, Stitcher, iTunes, and of course, PodCoin. Definitely make sure that you go check us out on all of those platforms. And of course, we can't forget the biggest one, Podcast City Network. Check us out on podcastcity.net/Final Score and check out all the great things that we have going on there, including our sports blog with now updated MLB Power Rankings and many other stories. So definitely make sure you check that out. But until next time, I'm Chris, this is Craig, and you just watched Final Score. You have a great night.
Podcast City Network.